I'm James in the Net News Ledger studio. I'm here with Shane Judge, and Shane has just declared he's running for mayor.
You betcha.
Now, Shane, what are the big issues in your campaign? Why are you running for mayor of Thunder Bay?
The reason I'm running for mayor of Thunder Bay is my concern about the city's ability to pull off a $106 million expenditure for the event center and to pay for it long term. I think that we can certainly get a shovel in the ground and get the thing built, but after that, I have some real trouble, given the size of our city and where the numbers are going for our population, whether or not we're going to be able to pay for that without having to compromise a lot of the other services that we all depend on.
Now, where are the numbers going?
Well, the numbers are going down. If you look at the census figures, from 96 to 2012, we've lost 5,000 people in total population. That's with deaths and births and out-migration. We're down 5,000 people. And now the Ministry of Finance, and you can find these figures in City of Thunder Bay documents, the Ministry of Finance says our population between 2010 and 2036, over the next 20 years or so, is going to go down another 7,000 people. When you see that downward trend, you've got to wonder, that's fewer people to pay for all of this. And when I thought back on my 30-year career as a reporter, we've lost 3 paper mills, we've lost 11 grain elevators, and we've lost 2 big sawmills, including the largest in Ontario. Those undertakings paid a huge amount of the taxes that went into this city, and that's all evaporated. And for example, I think that's why we're now taking a $17 million dividend from T-Bay-Tel instead of the old $10 million dividend. And now T-Bay-Tel's had to take out a loan, if you will, for $10 million this year to smooth out its cash flow. We may be taking too much money out of T-Bay-Tel. What that tells me in total is our population is shrinking, we don't have as many people to carry the load of all of our services, and to go and spend money on a project that's really a shiny jewel for the middle class without looking after our neighborhoods and our roads and our streets that we all want to see looked after, I just see it as a big problem. I think we should wait 10 years, see where everything's going. You know, we have a lot of enthusiasm for the Ring of Fire and all these other things that are going to happen, but I say let's wait. Let's wait to see if it actually happens. And if it does, if we see our population growing steadily and we hit some targets that we can set, okay, we hold a plebiscite and we pull the trigger and we build it. I eventually want to see an event center, but I don't think we can afford it.
So in our neighborhoods, and we've got, Thunder Bay, because it was 2 cities, we've got neighborhoods in duplicate to most cities. What should we be doing with our neighborhoods then?
I think largely Thunder Bay has lost its neighborhood identity. Each neighborhood has, to me, lost its identity. I can remember as a kid going to the volunteer pool rec center, spending the whole day playing hockey, getting a hot dog and a pop, living the whole day for 50 cents. Well, that just kind of tells you my age. I think nowadays we've built these large public facilities and we try to project this image of a big city and we all go to these single event centers. I don't mean to turn back the clock, but I think that what we have to do is do a better job of strengthening those areas of the community that don't have good connections. I mean, it's a fact of modernity. A lot of people stay at home and watch television and that's the end of it. What I'd like to do is take $1 million from the revenues we get from the casino and invest them in our community centers. Money would be funneled first to the Crime Prevention Council, because I think a lot of people have concern about crime prevention. I think if you build up neighborhoods, and it takes money to do it, you get the Crime Prevention Council to give money for projects that the community centers develop and have them carry on. With the goal being, we're trying to renew our neighborhoods. If that's where, we have neighborhood policing. Nobody ever talks about neighborhood building. We're policing the darn places, but why don't we build them? Why do we always have to look out for trouble? Let's build communities so people can enjoy themselves. On one level, I would like to be the mayor that brought back games to the city, where you went out and you played cards, you went to your little neighborhood thing, you got to know your neighbors, unlike today, for the large part. That's where I think, in fact, for people moving to Thunder Bay, and we know that there's this huge movement of First Nations people to Thunder Bay with no supports. They're coming without anything. If there was a welcoming group of people, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, I think we can move along. I think it would change things. But it's small ball. It's starting off small and organic.
So that's sort of a difficult one for some people, because if we're doing things, small ball as opposed to a major, project, everybody loves to point to the major project.
Including politicians who want to get their name on a plaque. I agree, this is a change of mind, but you know what, I think our city would be way better off if we started organically. The other side of the equation is, how do we build our city economically? Because it is the private sector that's going to be paying for all of this. The casino sucks money out of people that want to play games, if you will, playing cards. But the rest of us pay taxes, and we have to strengthen our tax base. And the other part of my campaign would be, or program would be, to help local entrepreneurs in the manufacturing and the services sectors build their businesses. It's been my experience that nobody's dropping in on Thunder Bay, dropping $10 million to build a new facility here. We have to do it ourselves.
We've got that, we're not Toronto. I did something with one of the media companies out of Toronto where they thought we were 2 hours away from Attawapiskat. The Thunder Bay is Thunder Bay, and we're the sort of the capital of northwestern Ontario, but we're also small compared to Toronto. Our entire population fits into,
109,000.
very small area of Toronto.
Yes.
So how do we, get that change of heart or change of mindset perhaps in the city in your mind?
You know what I would recommend everybody does? I did it a couple of times. Just drive up Mount McKay to the outlook over the city, and just spend 10 minutes looking out. And what do you see? You see this big body of water off to the east. You see this narrow band of buildings that is Thunder Bay. And you look immediately to the west, and there's nothing but forest forever. Then you get a real sense of how we have to depend on ourselves, because really there's nobody around it. We don't have neighbors. I think that Thunder Bay over the decades has proven its resilience. We've gone through terrible times with the loss of all those industries I described. I think we can have a great future, but I think we have to renew some of the things that, especially the changes. I think we're in the biggest change ever with the First Nations people voting with their feet, coming from the North communities and starting anew here in Thunder Bay. I think we have to create a more welcoming community, and I think we have to build those neighborhoods that we used to have built all over. We just have to renew it. If you want to renew Thunder Bay, that's, I think, where we start.
Maybe a little bit. I grew up in Winnipeg, and it was road hockey.
Yeah.
And today, I can't remember the last time I saw someone yell net, pull the net off because a car was going by on the side street.
You and I are too old. Yeah, that was my youth. Absolutely. I used to live down from the television station, and even with the station vehicles coming up and down every couple seconds, that's where we played ball hockey. I'd love to see more of that. I'd love to see people going to these community centers. I'd love to see community kitchens started up. I'd love to see community gardens, and the community centers would be great focal points. I'd like to see after-school programs. And in those neighborhoods where we don't have community centers, I would like to see churches and other organizations, such as Boys and Girls Clubs, be able to expand and offer new services. I think that's where we've got to start.
So I'm sure between now and through the campaign, we'll be talking several times.
Sure.
How do people get a hold of you?
Well, at this point in time, just beginning the campaign, email is best. shane.judge@shaw.ca, shane.judge@cbc.ca.
At shaw.ca.
At shaw.ca. I've got some advisors who are going to be bringing me along on tweeting and Facebook and the rest of it. I'll have those accounts fairly soon.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks a lot.
I appreciate your time.
Okay.